require 40.
And Robinson gets it done in the most convincing fashion. At times, Hosey was the architect of his own downfall in that game. He missed opportunities, only had one darted double. That was at the end of a double-double attempt as well. Robinson just stayed solid, stayed straight, and, well, took care of business. A 4-0 win. Can't ask for better than that. He's clear at the top of the table. 10 points, 2 ahead of Lee Cox, who's in action next against the man chasing him, Richard Rowland.
It's Ian. Well, this is to have the darts in the last leg. Other side.
9.
He has faltered.
I was just watching out of our window in the Commons box there, and he sort of reached rather than moved. He could have just shuffled across maybe. We could see that the bottom portion of the bed was blocked, so he was sort of overstretching to try and get above it, when maybe a step across the hockey would have been the right thing to do. And that's punished. Rowland gets
Richard Rowland.
the exact result reversal he needed. Beaten 4-2 by Lee Cox at the end of yesterday, but beats the same opponent by the same scoreline at the start of today, and in doing so goes level on points with him in second place. The top two, of course, go through, and Rowland has manoeuvred himself into position. As you can see, they're 2 points off Rhys Robinson at the top of it, and Gilbert van der Meijden is hoping to join that race when he takes on Niall Culleton after the break.
I'll come down if you want to have a wee chat before 7:30 tomorrow night, I promise.
Well, Culleton going the bull route and doing it expertly.
Game shot the third leg.
Nice 91
Niall
out from
Culleton.
Niall, who's refusing to be completely cut adrift in this match. He's just taken out 91. Now he wants to usurp that with an 11 dart leg.
Game
Sensational
shot the
stuff
fourth
suddenly
leg.
from the
Niall
Irishman.
Culleton.
Less likely, that's for sure. Culleton has not missed tops in a while. And he doesn't miss it this time.
Niall
That's a great
Culleton.
performance from 2-0 down. He wins 4 straight legs. And the man from REIGNS, who was wearing that shirt with pride today, has had a very good display there. You can see his highest checkout was 100. He's got a couple of maximums in there, and his doubling was excellent. Much better than anything we saw from him yesterday, and he gets his first win in Group C at the expense of the Dutchman. So when we come back, it will be the start of round number 2, and it's over to you, Richard Rowlands. What can you do to affect the table? I think we should address the counting issue at this level. Double 16 will win Richard Rowlands this match.
And this match is won. Richard Rowland is on manoeuvres here at the Modus Super Series. He's into the top 2 with a 4-1 thumping of Richard Hosey. It's not been a successful day for him, but the Welshman is off to a double winning start, beating the rival Lee Cox and now beating him into second place by seeing off Hosey 4-1. Cox will get his chance to respond in a couple of games' time, but before that, the league leader, Rhys Robinson, in action against Niall Culleton. Firework possibilities here. Sparkling stuff from Rhys Robinson, who ignites all of a sudden and produces the biggest finish possible.
Fourth leg is Niall to throw first.
Now there's a smile.
Niall
And that's why
require
younger players
142.
and more astute players mathematically these days lose less games.
Little example there from Rhys Robinson, but it may be academic because we've just seen another huge checkout. Culleton responding. The 170 captured by Robinson, and then Culleton claims a 142.
There's another one. Robinson should have gone bull with the last start. Worst case scenario, you leave a 2-darter. It didn't make any difference, but these are the small things we're talking about. And he could be putting Niall Culleton in the bin, son.
And again, Culleton there has not given himself a chance, even if Rhys does miss this.
He
He doesn't miss, he hits. He wins 4-3, and it's 2 from 2 for Rhys Robinson. The second one, much more hard fought than the first one when he beat Richard Hosey 4-0. But there were moments of brilliance in that match, not least the 170 checkout from Robinson, which was answered by the 142 from Culleton. But the finishing was fine. 4 out of 6 for Robinson. That takes him over the line in the game, keeps him top of the table, 2 points clear of Richard Eric Rowland and 4 now clear of Lee Cox, so he can go tied for second place if he beats Gilbert van der Meijden next.
He required 20.
It is wilting like spinach in a hot pan.
Game shot
All over.
and the match. Lee
A thumping
Cox.
victory for Lee Cox, who is determined not to let this slip this week and make it through to finals night of the Super Series, and that's the way to go about it. That is a very, very convincing display. An average into the 90s, 40% on the doubles, and he didn't allow van der Meijden many opportunities there. A 4-0 win for Cox sees him return to the top 2, and Richard Rowland will need to respond when he takes on Niall Culleton after this break.
Get with that. Then we'll try the development tour. It's just been really well done, in my opinion. Just like an 80 checkout.
Game shot.
And here we go
first
again.
set.
If Culleton has something to say about it.
We said about tops being difficult for him because he blocks it with that dart, but 60 is actually a nice finish for him
40.
because he doesn't block it with the first. Doesn't work out on that occasion.
36.
Could have won it 4-1. Could have won it 4-2. He might not win it at all.
Game shot on the
All
sixth.
square.
Richard
Rowlands breathes
Rowlands.
again. In particular, will be shaking his head a little bit. Niall might want to give him a wide berth when he walks back through the practice room. Because Richard Rowlands has managed to sneak it. A total turnaround in that tie. Culleton led it 3-0. Rowland has managed to work his way back into the match, and in doing so, makes it 3 from 3 today, and that sees him move back in to the top 2. Rowland's behind Robinson, both on 12 points. So Cox, who looked like he would have the advantage, now has to win the game that's coming up after the break. He takes on Richard Hosey. Don't go anywhere. This is getting tight.
Creative cats, but I wouldn't put Richard Hosey in that house. But he might be in the house at 4-1 if he finds
81.
double 16 or
Which
tops
required
next.
48.
Just been a dart, hasn't there, every visit? Wow, well, that's a dart in favour of Cox.
32.
He's had the little bit
They
of luck he
require
needed.
119.
That really was a bad first start. Make the most of it, Lee. And he can't.
59. Richard
Could have
required
been
16.
drastically in front at the start, but now he might be beaten.
Game
Is
shot and the
beaten.
match.
I don't
Richard
think many
Hosey.
saw that coming. Richard Hosey, who'd lost his first 2 matches today, inflicts a 4-1 defeat on Lee Cox, who, well, things were looking up for him. Now, he could be in a spot of bother because that defeat sees him 2 points behind the top 2, and one of them is going to play next, a game in hand for Rhys Robinson. He could be pretty much uncatchable by Cox if he defeats Gilbert van der Meijden after this. His best performances were in defeats on Monday, and he hasn't really found that form since. But he's found it here because Rhys Robinson suddenly hits a hot streak. That's 3 double 18s in 2 legs.
And this will be the final act of their rivalry for the week. Looks like Rhys might have the final say.
140.
It's got to be 5 double 18.
Well, this is remarkable.
It is remarkable, but the average is about to go down, no matter what he does.
Yeah, what are you doing, Rhys? It's another double 18. Is it 3 of them already?
Game shot on the third.
Right,
leg.
4 in 3 legs. Is
Rhys
this
Robinson.
something he's now got in his head? And he may get more than one go.
Options. And the option is tops.
That's interesting, isn't it? Because as soon as he missed
61.
double 18, he stopped going for it.
Require 109.
Could have left it again there.
This is a match extending shot. But it may not be
52.
extended.
Richard require 40.
So tops to increase his lead at the top. And Rhys Robinson is almost certain of a place now at finals night on Saturday. A 4-2 win against Gilbert van der Meijden, who is condemned to his 3rd straight defeat today from as many matches. And it was the performance of the day from Robinson. The 1-2-9 was sublime. He, in the end, averages 98.9, really glittering display, and that's a win that keeps him 2 points clear of Richard Rowland's, but more importantly 4 points clear of third place Lee Cox. Rowland's back in action in a couple of games' time, but before that Richard Hosey will face Niall Culleton. The trend for three tops this week is Niall Culleton going to join the party. Now he's going to go bull.
70.
To me, that is not
16.
peacockry. That actually made sense. Just like that did. Hosey was 3-0 up.
Hosey.
He was pegged back, but he does take the last leg decider. And he's done himself a favour by getting to 8 points in fourth position. He's not going to be caught in that regard unless a certain Gilbert van der Meijden wins his last 2 games. And with him playing Richard Rowland's next, that has connotations for the top of the table as well. By beating Robinson next. Don't rely on what's happening on this board first and foremost. Oh, don't look. But do look at double 18.
Game shown the 5th leg. Richard Rowland.
And that is how you wrestle control of a match. Great dart, double 15. And that's usable. And used. And Richard Rowland's wins. And when it looked like Gilbert van der Meijden might be doing Lee Cox a favour, Richard Rowland's produced that absolute blockbuster checkout, the 153, to turn this tie around. Goes on to win the match 4-2. And in doing so moves 4 points clear of Cox, who now must win his next game, and it's against the table topper Rhys Robinson, who would be through with victory in that one. A huge match coming next. Do not go anywhere.
And give you more success. Why would you say no? Why?
180. Richard required 20.
Double 10. Employs the flat one.
No score.
But this time, doesn't find double 10. This is to keep the game very winnable. And Cox is still part of this equation.
And that could be that.
32.
And Rhys Robinson rules the roost in Group C.
Rhys Robinson.
He defeats Lee Cox to send him tumbling out of the tournament and qualifies, taking Richard Eric Rowland with him. The 4-1 win, enough to condemn Cox to defeat, to another Modus Super Series visit without going to finals night. And Richard Rowland can breathe easy ahead of his final game against Robinson, who will finish first in the table. Rowland will finish second. Cox won't be at finals night. And we are going to fulfill our final 3 fixtures after this break.
How about bull at the end? Yes, that's what you're supposed to use it for.
Richard Hosey.
And it's 3-1.
Like me trying to read a cryptic crossword.
That is 114, which leaves 63. Oh, that's a beautiful visit.
165. We require 80.
Well, then he does attempt to go 2 tops. But in doing so, he made it hard for himself.
Richard, you require 12.
To sign off with a win. And for 10 points, he needs the trapdoor.
Game shot.
There's no trouble down there for Richard Hosey.
Richard Hosey.
I think he's quite pleased with getting 4th position. Today he's had a brilliant recovery after a bad start. And he's won 3 games from 5. It wasn't a classic game by any means, if we are being honest. But his finishing was pretty effective at 4 out of 10. But when we come back, it's going to be the final game of the week for Cox and Culleton. Just to show 56. Lee the door.
Tricky. but he finds a way, and Culleton finds a win. It's 4-1 win over Lee Cox, who has had the opposite day to that which he experienced yesterday. It was 4 from 5 on Thursday, and he started the day with the opportunity to qualify, but he ends up winning only one game today, and he is heading home, as is Niall Culleton. The two who are going through are going to be in action after the break. Rhys Robinson against Richard Rowland in today's curtain closer. Now where? Is it treble 7?
You might think that's a bit of showmanship, but after he's got the bullseye, it's actually not a bad play.
There'll be no showmanship from Rowland. He just remains effective. Sensational stuff. What a way to win it. And Richard Rowland is going through to finals night, having beaten the group winner 4-0 with a staggering display. Saved his best until last. It's the best we've seen in this group. Rhys Robinson may have won the group, but he's the one who leaves the stage disappointed. Pretty much his worst performance of it. Rowland's with his best, the best, 105.47. Absolutely sensational stuff, and he shows why he's going through with the man he has just beaten. We'll reflect on all of the action and preview what's coming up tonight after this very short break.